Hello! Today we're going to fix something. Last year I built a second feeder for my sheep. The feeder is really nice. I mean, I wanted it to look better than the other one. However, I made a couple of mistakes here that I now need to fix, and in fixing them I will make this thing a little bit less beautiful. So one of the issues is that these bars here, they are at 45 degrees, but the problem with 45 degrees is that the sheep actually just diagonally walk through, which totally defeats the purpose of it. And then you can see here in the back, I was in a rush. I had to get this thing out. So I basically just put some welded mesh on the sides. And the problem with that is that the sheep actually are smart enough to just push against it, and then they're in the feeder again. So today we're basically going to install some bars here to prevent the sheep from going in, and I'm going to reinforce the sides so that there's no chance that any sheep can just walk through. Anyway, so that's the plan, and while we're at it, I'm just going to cue me building this thing originally at night. So once we're done with that, see you in a minute. Today I have already started working on a new feeder. The new feeder will address one big issue that I have with my current feeder, and that is I only use 5x5 feet round bales for winter time for feeding the sheep. However, it's very tight to get the round bale in, and the moment the sheep eat it down a bit, because I have horizontal bars, the sheep actually can get in. So with this version, I'm going with a 45-degree angle on the sides, which hopefully should prevent any sheep from getting in. So let's get going with tacking most of the pieces together. I have cut everything with the exception of the 45-degree angled bars. I'll get to that in a bit. Well, it wobbles, but it, doesn't fall apart. How great is that? It is day again. I can install some tiny details I really like. That's the benefit, I guess, of having a CNC plasma cutter. I made those nice uniform style plaquettes, which go here, right below the center. And then, just for good measure, I have 2 for the ends, and then in the middle I'm going to put, the name of the people who run this farm. So me, my wife, and my daughter. Something like this. This is just so that the ewes and lambs, I think, if they were really motivated, they would need to crouch through at the bottom, which I think usually is not a problem because they would have to, there's a round bale in there, right? So usually there's no space for them to crouch into. But also jumping over, I think they will not do, just because there's a 45-degree angle. You know, now thinking about it, maybe they would do this, because they could probably do the same thing they walk into, just diagonally jump over. You know what? I'll just install 2 more just to be safe, because I really don't want to do this all the time. So 2 more bars, and then we'll move on to reusing some of my scrap to build those gates. So I did the boring cutting here, right? You can see I welded on these leftover pieces. Those are actually from me assembling my welding table, so a long time ago. And no, the only thing I need to do before I bring this back to the sheep is I have to prevent them from pulling these up. So I'll just use those clevis pins. I will weld them right on here, and they get a little bit at the bottom, and that should be enough so that the sheep don't pull them out. You know, I mean, let's see. Whoa. All right, 2 feeders, left side, right side. This is the old one, this is the new one, and now time to feed the sheep with some extra treats. Hey sheepies. There we go, look at that. We have now 9 lambs, and we have 4 more sheep that have to lamb. So, plenty of lamb. No syrup. There you go. What a joy. Most of them are less than a week old, so why did we have to do this? You see the ram there? He's the father of all of them this year, and that we wanted to give the younger ewes some time for their first pregnancy, and unfortunately he got 1 pregnant before we separated them. So now she already has a lamb, but we can't keep them over there because otherwise he would make her pregnant again, and 2 lambings in 1 year would be just too much. Anyways, so there you go, a little sheep update. Look at those cute little buggers. Yeah, syrup. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you can enjoy the barking of my dogs in the background. And the sheep, of course.